What's up, everybody? And by now, you all may have been exposed to the Chinese manufacturers who are hitting back at the United States because of the whole tariff war with China and the US and how expensive things could get with these tariffs going around. So it's a big trade war, tariff war. And the manufacturers in China, where so many luxury products are made, things that, a lot of people buy here in the United States, like Nikes, Air Jordan sneakers, Hermes bags, Birkin, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all of that. They're now saying in these factories that, I've heard in the past, especially with Nike, where these products are made and shipped over to the United States, and we pay an arm and a leg for them because we're basically paying for a name. And I know some people probably knew that before. You paying for the brand because it's a lot cheaper to make it in the factory over there. So they're actually breaking down how much it actually costs, just to give people, I guess, a better look on how much money you actually spending extra versus what it really costs to get it from China if you were to go direct and get it from the factory, if you had a means to do that. And so they've never done this before, and really just breaking down over there in the Chinese factories. This is how much this is, this piece, that piece. This is the total, and then you pay X amount in the United States. I heard about the Birkin bag actually coming out to $1,395, but they sell it for $38,000 in the United States. So let me get to the video, and you all can see the breakdown of some of the things that people love to buy in the United States and how we're overpaying, and the whole expose from the Chinese manufacturers who have also been trying to set up their own direct way of paying them so you can get the products straight from the factory and bypassing the stores in the United States and paying the extra money. So here we go. Fair use, YouTube.
Chinese manufacturers have taken tariffs to heart and have flooded social media sites with exposés of how everything from luxury handbags, high-end sneakers to prefab houses and boats are built in China and at a fraction of the sticker price.
This Birkin bag at Hermes boutique will cost you 38,000 USD.
This video exposes how $38,000 Hermes bags are made in China for allegedly below $1,400.
$1,400 USD for one Birkin out of factory.
Here are the details of accessories for uber luxury brands like Chanel, Estée Lauder, Louis Vuitton and Dior being produced for a few dollars on the Chinese assembly lines.
For this one, for example, this one like 50 RMB one piece.
One piece, 50
Yeah,
RMB.
50 RMB.
And the cost of it.
Yeah.
Another video claims that branded products being sold for hundreds of dollars in upscale showrooms are being built in China for just $6 to $8.
Yoga suits for Lululemon. Lululemon sells this jacket for nearly $100, but here only costs you $6 to $5.
This post goes on to claim that the reality of lifestyle footwear brand Birkenstocks being produced at just $10 a piece.
Black dollars, $10, and $10. Always $10.
The United States of America has imposed 145% tariff on Chinese imports, with China hitting back with 125% tariff. China is also exempt from the 90-day pause.
China, China, China. Get your LED sign with factory price in China. Who doesn't like a shiny gold LED sign?
There are also some below-the-belt videos reflecting the deep divisions creeping in between the two big world economies.
And we offer 3 years warranty for it. The DHL or FedEx will deliver it to your house no matter where you are.
The suppliers behind the Salomon, Timberland, New Balance, Adidas, Nike, First,
No big brand has been spared in this online onslaught. The videos have been made in perfect English, targeting the final customer and taking pride in the massive economies of scale in China.
Fireproof and rust-proof. 2 to 3 people can set it up.
So while America is trumpeting its tariff, China is flexing its manufacturing might. Bureau Report, India Today Television.
For Sephora, let me review the key Chinese suppliers for you.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.
So there you all have it, and they are basically exposing everything that us over here in the United States of America love to buy. You know, United States is the biggest consumer in probably the world, and in China they don't spend like that. They're very frugal, hold on to their money. They don't consume like that. And so the creator business today is a commercial YouTube channel. This content is coming from them, and they really are just exposing a lot of brands. I'm familiar with a lot of the ones that just popped up in the video. You all probably are too, and I'm sure it's more than that. And so you're seeing how much it actually costs to make these products, and then how much we pay if you choose to once they get over to the United States. Now, this is not new news to me in terms of it being made cheaper in factories, and then, you know, they mark up the price over here. So it's not a complete shock, but they're really just with this whole tariff war going on between China and the United States, and they are basically just exposing everything. And I guess it's trying to make people in America rethink, you know, maybe their purchases, and, you know, just give a second thought to, do I really need this? Because, you know, as much money that I paid for it, and then you have to ask yourself, why are you paying that much for the product, 38,000 for a Birkin bag? Is it because of status, and you think it's going to take you from this level up to that level? You know, I don't know. But I mean, this is a big reveal from the Chinese manufacturers and what the price of these things actually are if you get them straight from the factory versus what we see here once they get onto the soil in the United States, and you shopping online for them and charging crazy prices. Now I'm going to backflip and show you the other side of this. I know so many videos are going around saying this is where they're made. Now let me flip to this website. It's called France24.com, and they're offering a different take, saying these videos from the Chinese manufacturers falsely claim that luxury handbags, now it's only focusing on the handbags, your Louis Vuitton, your Birkin, Hermes, are made in China. That doesn't mean, I mean, maybe they aren't made in there. We're going to check this video out, but that still leaves so many other things that are actually made over there. But here we go with this. It's France24.com, and I'm going to let you all see and hear the other side of how much these things really cost and where they're made. Here we go.
Carolina Marchand-Aber is here in studio. Carolina, tonight, China taking a jab at Donald Trump's trade war. Chinese manufacturers allegedly exposing the truth behind the production of luxury goods. Tell us more about that.
That's right, Sharon. That in response to Trump's tariff hikes, Chinese factories are flooding TikTok with viral content claiming to expose how luxury goods are really made in China. For brands such as Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, all the way to Lululemon and Nike, as they say, their same factories produce the same products for a fraction of the cost. This creator, for instance, says that this Dior bag that costs $6,000 in boutique only costs him $300 to make. On TikTok, the discussion hashtag China manufacturer is trending, with over 11,000 posts where content creators are listing Chinese manufacturers so that consumers can buy directly from their factories. The man driving the debate, this user at Sandbag2, he, with this video that has garnered millions of views on TikTok, this Chinese manufacturer claims that many high-end products, for instance here he shows the infamous Birkin bag, is actually made in China. So we'll summarize a bit. This user claims that 80% of luxury handbags are made in China, and that the finishing touches, for instance labeling and packaging, is done in Europe. In addition to demonstrating the production process, users like these also offer viewers advice on how to directly order from their factories with these type of links in order to avoid markups and reduce tariffs, urging American users to bypass the middlemen and to buy directly from their factories in China.
So are these handbags really made in China then, Catalina, like these manufacturers are claiming?
Well, Sharon, for the most part, the answer is no, at least when it comes to the major players in the luxury fashion industry, such as Hermes, with purses that, as they claim, can reach up to $38,000 or more. You'd actually expect labeling to be truthful. Hermes, according to their website, our objects are produced in France, mainly produced in France, across 60 different production sites, while the network, they say, is supplemented by 12 other manufacturers in other countries, including Switzerland, Italy, the UK, the US, Portugal, and Australia, however, not China. Then let's take a look at Louis Vuitton, for instance, also targeted in the fake claims on TikTok, who say their leather goods are exclusively produced in their workshops located in France, Spain, Italy, and the US, not China. Also, while these videos on TikTok claim that luxury bags are made in China, that is very unlikely under the strict labeling regulations that exist in the US and the EU. To be labeled made in France, for instance, the product must have undergone its last substantial transformation in France, meaning that 45 to 50% of the unit cost price must be acquired in France. Experts cited by The Independent claim that these viral videos on TikTok are likely an effort of counterfeit manufacturers in China to take advantage of the tariff chaos to boost their sales. A very clever way to take advantage of the actual geopolitical situation to drive demand to their websites.
Finally then, Catalina, what has been the reaction overall to these videos?
Well, Sharon, these videos have sparked a global debate on TikTok and X as some users feel scammed by these allegations or alleged revelations online, rejoicing at the idea of paying less for luxury items. This user says, today I found that a Birkin bag costs about $1,300 to make instead of the $38,000. According to the fake claims, others say that they will never buy designer bags again after finding out about these Chinese manufacturers. They say not worth it, while other users are also compiling a list of different factories and vendors to buy from China in order to avoid these tariffs. The truth is, these websites are nothing new, no new revelations here. The counterfeit market has always existed, China taking the lead. China actually has the largest counterfeit market in the world, with counterfeit and pirated goods from China accounting for 75% of the value of these type of goods that were seized by the U.S. Customs in 2021. And in the past, it seems that China was a bit more strict about counterfeit laws. However, they seem to be loosening them in response to Trump's trade war. According to Glitz, China is expected to open the floodgates of counterfeit to play into this economic duel with the U.S. Russia had a similar reaction in response to American support for Ukraine, allowing knockoffs of luxury items and others in their domestic market, an economic weapon in their war against escalating tariffs.
Catalina, thanks so much for all of that. That is tonight's Truth or Fake with Catalina. Do stay with us. We'll be right back with more world news.
So there you have it. And so basically just some of the handbags they kind of expose from the companies of the handbags themselves aren't actually manufactured in China. They're in throughout places in Europe, things like places like that. And so I don't know, maybe some of the Chinese manufacturers were getting ahead of themselves by saying that. Unless, you know, you got two being made, they're doing counterfeit in China, and then you got the real thing. But those were just a couple of the handbags. The other stuff that you all saw in the other video seemed to be made over there, and still the majority of what people are overpaying for in the United States is indeed made in these Chinese factories. And they're exposing this as a basic taking a shot at Donald Trump and his tariffs, and they even trying to profit themselves by saying, hey, buy direct from us, you know, bypass the middle person and then just get it shipped from China to where you are, and however much that'll cost, and you won't have to worry about the tariffs. So they could be also be doing it for personal gain as well. But what do you all think? Do you even care that it's coming from China? Are you okay with paying the higher prices that you've been paying? Because like I said, I've known about Nike using factories over there for their sneakers, the Air Jordan, etc. and then the Air Jordan gets here, and we pay $200 plus tax for it, you know. So this news isn't completely out of nowhere, but this is the first time we're seeing a breakdown of the prices and even more expensive items on there that passes what Nike charges. And so, are you all still willing to buy these luxury goods, even though you see the actual price? And would you rather try and get it direct from China, or are you all still fine with overpaying for them because it gives you a status? You know, you buying brand name brand, you buying the brand, and now it gives you a certain status when you're outside. Do you want to keep doing that? And this, if you want to buy it, that's fine. But like I've said in my past videos, none of these things give you status. It's not going to make you cooler. It's not going to get you accepted. You have to do that. They just make you look nice. But you still aren't going to be into whatever group or circle you're trying to get into just because you have a $38,000 Birkin bag. Don't do it. But anyway, that's the whole moral part of it. But if you guys are cool with still paying the overpriced for these items, did you already know about China selling counterfeits, as you saw in the video where it says how much of fake products also come from China? I've seen that in terms of the sneaker world with what they call variants, and they produce knockoff Air Jordan sneakers, even though some sneakerheads, as they call them, have said that the Air Jordan knockoffs look better than what's actually released at Foot Locker and Finish Line, just based on stitching and height of the shoe. And so, you know, it's still fake, but you know, that's always been a running joke in the sneaker world that the knockoffs look better than the real thing. And they're comparing the real thing back to the original release when Nike first released that particular Air Jordan sneaker going back to 1985. But anyway, you know, a lot of this is basically, I think, retaliation for the tariffs that Trump has put on China. And so you're seeing all of this exposed and how much things really cost. And so we just take it from there. I don't know what you guys may think about it. And, you know, let me know down in the comments. I wanted to show you guys both sides of what you're seeing in all of the TikTok videos. And the Chinese manufacturers are using their very own TikTok, since ByteDance, which is a Chinese company, owns TikTok, to expose these things, to say, hey, this is what the cost of these luxury goods really are. This is what you're really paying for, even though you pay the markups once they get to the United States. Let me know down in the comments. Are you still going to buy? Are you going to save your money? Are you shocked? Does it not matter? Let me know all of that down in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Facts or Feelings. That's all one word, no spaces. Put that in a YouTube search. Facts or Feelings, no spaces, and my channel comes right up. And hey, just be careful with your buying decisions. I'm out.